Welcome to another Marty's Mods tutorial. In this series we will cover the basics of ReShade, from downloading, installation, dev and other topics that will help you get the most out of it. If that sounds interesting, you will find a playlist with all our videos linked in the description below, along with written guides if you prefer to read instead. In this video specifically, we will be taking a closer look at the dev buffer, what it is, how it works in ReShade, and how to get it set up properly. So without further ado, let's get started. Within the ReShade ecosystem, there are all kinds of effects you can apply to just about any game. Most of these effects fall into two main categories. The first includes effects that only use the frame buffer or the raw pixels you see on your screen. These typically include simple effects like color grading, contrast-based sharpening, or film grain. The second category includes effects that use a resource known as the dev buffer. These are the heavy hitters of ReShade and include effects like ray trace global illumination, depth of field, or volumetric fog. To understand why these kinds of effects in ReShade rely on the dev buffer, we first need to talk about what the dev buffer actually is in video games. When a video game renders its world, with all its geometry, lighting, shadows and effects, it relies on a huge amount of background data. This data is stored in a myriad of GPU buffers, which are regions in video memory. While the exact composition varies widely per game, all 3D engines have a dev buffer, as it's a byproduct of drawing geometry. During rendering, it stores the distance to the closest object drawn so far, making back-to-front rendering very simple. Once created, this information is very useful for a variety of effects, such as global illumination, volumetric fog, or depth of field. Every version of ReShade comes with a built-in add-on called Generic Dev. It scans all the game's buffers to pick the main dev buffer, then forwards it to the ReShade effects. The dev buffer data is stored in encoded form, which varies per game. Therefore, ReShade effects need to decode it properly first. Both selecting and correctly decoding might require manual setup. The display depth shader helps us with that, so let's enable it. If everything is correct, closer objects appear darker and distant objects appear brighter. Once you've enabled display depth, open the add-ons tab and check the generic depth panel. Here you will find controls to enable or disable the add-on, tuning the heuristics for identifying the buffers, copying the data before clear, which might be useful later, and manually selecting a specific dev buffer from the list of likely candidates. Since ReShade is designed to work on thousands of games, the add-on cannot always make the correct choice. It makes its best guess and highlights that choice in blue. But often you will need to manually click through the likely candidates to find the right one. As you cycle through them, keep an eye on the display depth preview. You're looking for the buffer that best matches the game's 3D geometry. If none of them look correct or appear mostly blank, enable copy depth buffer before clear operations, as some games clear their buffers partway through the frame, and this option ensures ReShade captures the data before it gets wiped. Once you have a buffer which visually matches the scene, ensure it's correctly decoded as well. The derived normal vector in display depth makes this easier. Here are three common outputs you may encounter. Some games have a reverse depth buffer. If our decoding does the opposite of what the game uses, surfaces pointing up show us purple here. Some games render the scene upside down and only flip the color output, so we need to flip the depth manually. In a correctly decoded depth buffer, this view shows surfaces pointing up as green. Before fixing these issues, let's take a quick look at display depth settings. Do not enable the highlighted setting because we want to see what every other shader sees. This technically useful setting bypasses the global parameters for a faster preview, but we want to make absolutely sure our changes apply globally, and this is a common source of error. Again, do not enable it. We want to only ever adjust the global preprocessor definitions. Here you can find the adjustments for an upside down or reversed depth buffer. We would flip the 0 to a 1 or vice versa, depending on the issue we're seeing. After each change, click Apply to recompile the shaders with the updated settings. And that wraps up our deep dive into the depth buffer in ReShade. Hopefully this video helped you understand what the depth buffer is and how it works in both video games and in ReShade. If you want more videos like this, let us know by subscribing to the channel or giving the video a like. Or both. Please do both. If there's something we missed, let us know in the comments down below so we can implement it in the future. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time here with Marty's Mods.